And Zeldrin's a pretty quick planet. Not much to it, but it is a little bit tricky to get used to. So what we're doing on Zeldrin is we're immediately clipping out of bounds. And basically, there's the other part of the level is located under this level. Around over here. And so we're going to glide down to it, and then we skip everything else. Trigger cutscene. So what we're going to do is clip through this wall. Regular 2-turret clip. Up a little bit. Along to the left. The only thing that you need to consider here is that this wall is made up of lots of separate walls. As in, to make it look curved, it's got separate straight sections. They're all slightly different angles. Just keep in mind of which angled bit you're next to. So you'll notice that when I'm on this, I'm seeing that I'm on this bit of wall and not, I'm going to exaggerate this, but there's a bit next to me that's like this. Ignore this as much as possible. Pretend it's not there. We're using this as our reference for clipping through. So we're going parallel to it here and perpendicular to it here. You'll notice this is now coming across like this, which is a bit confusing because that goes against the principles, but we're actually clipping through the wall that's right down here. If you need to, wrench something through the wall. And then we're going to glide down this way. And you'll want to glide a few times. Glide until you can see where you're going. And then turn your camera to look down. And you should see these guys. So you got 2 guys here and 1 guy here. And these guys are like a layer above the other guy. And the way it was taught to me, which I think was from Zem's tutorial back in the day, was that you want to make a triangle. You're aiming for the cutscene. So if you make a triangle like this, that's where you're aiming for. Now, if we're looking at it again, I'm drawing a triangle. It's kind of like this. And you should hit the cutscene. Sometimes you'll land on some invisible ground. Sometimes you won't land on the invisible ground. All I'll say is just play it safe with your glides until you get comfortable with where it is. So I think I glide 3 times here. Glide 4 or 5 times if you're really not sure. Glide all the way down if you're feeling really... In fact, don't glide all the way down because that can tend to mess up your camera, so don't do that. Now we've triggered the escape sequence and we need to get back to the ship, but the ship hasn't... None of the textures are loaded in, so we need to die once. Don't hyperstrike here. It's actually slower to hyperstrike rather than just fall. And we're going to do the classic. We're going to do whip, turrets, shot cannon. And that's going to set us up for most of the rest of the run, to be honest. We're not going to do much more weapon menuing from now on. Right, so now the escape sequence. Speedrunners love the escape because of this thing here. This is a timer. This tells you how fast you're going. And there's an age-old saying in the UYA community. It's not a good run if you don't get a 50. As in 50 on the clock. But we're beginners, we don't care about getting a 50. With the strats I'm showing you, you can get a 49. But don't even worry about getting that. So what we're going to do, charge to the left, charge down, falling neutral long jump, and you're trying to aim here. If you don't hit the falling neutral, just equip the shield and long jump across anyway. You're still going to go around this way. I believe I hyperstrike as well. That just you can't bonk while you're hyperstriking, and that just allows you to curve around this wall a little bit more. And then we're just going to come around, charge, charge, and then this bit is a bit awkward. There's about 5 enemies here, and they're really easy to bonk on. What you want to do is curve from left to right. So the ship we're aiming for is right over here. But if you go just right, then you're going to bonk on something, either the wall or an enemy. So you want to curl the charge. And then you hit the cutscene, and that is Zeldrin. And that is a 49. Anything in the 40s is completely acceptable as a beginner, I think. Like, people worry about their time on the escape a bit too much. If you think about it, a perfect escape is like a low 51. And with that beginner strats, I've got a 49.5 or something like that. And that's 1.5 seconds off world record. So it's not something you need to worry about at all.